This is the Monkey Doctor. You'll never believe how frightening his experiments are.
But before we start, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss an upload from us. Also, leave a like right now.
If you are a fan of Mikhail Bulgakov's novels, we recommend that you watch the movie Heart of a Dog, directed by Vladimir Bordiko, which is based on a novel with the same title. Those who watched the movie know what Dr. Preobrazhensky did when he tried to place a dog's heart in the corpse of a dangerous criminal. But what if we told you the events were more than just a movie? Before we start, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any new stories. Serge Voronov, a French surgeon who lived in the years between the First and Second World Wars, the man gained great fame. Rich people were paying big bucks for his treatment. Not only was he able to help people get rid of illnesses, he was also making them feel younger than before. Before we explain even more, let's get to know this character first. Serge Voronov is his pseudonym. His real name is Samuel Abrahimovich Baron. He was born to a Jewish family in the village Shekman, Tambov Governorate in Russia, and when he was 18, he emigrated to France to study medicine. He studied diligently and obtained a doctorate degree in medicine under the guidance of the famous French biologist Alexis Carrel, who at the time was a Nobel Prize recipient for his famous work in the field of vascular and organ transplantation. Although the French authorities at the time were not cooperating with people of Jewish descent, Voronov managed to be an exception and became one of the most famous doctors in the world. Voronov then went to Egypt, where he became a doctor in the palace of Sultan Abbas II. There, the doctor became more interested in studying human reproduction and the transmission of genetic traits across generations. He conducted many studies in this field. Afterward, he met with Professor Charles Edward. Voronov and Professor Charles conducted many scientific studies that led them to the conclusion that human rejuvenation can be done by implanting the gonads of young chimpanzees in their bodies. When the surgeon gained enough experience and knowledge, he began to perform very daring surgeries. He began removing thyroid glands from monkeys and implanting them in humans suffering from thyroid diseases. It may sound illogical, but it was a huge success at the time. These operations helped spread his name around the world. Initially, he conducted his experiments by transplanting monkey cells into elderly humans, which gave them a lot of vitality and sexual vigor. Frankly speaking, that was a quantum leap in the field of medicine. After a series of continuous successes, the surgeon decided to conduct a unique experiment. In 1920, he removed cells from monkey testicles and implanted them into humans. The surgeon then noticed that this process increased the subject's vitality. Additionally, some of them said that they feel they're younger than before. If you thought the number of customers was small, you're wrong. There were many clients and most of them were businessmen and millionaires. This type of surgery was first performed in Swiss hospitals, and then additional tests were carried out in hospitals in France and Algeria. When Voronov efforts began to achieve great successes, the matter moved to America. The doctor became very wealthy because everybody wanted to have a chance to live a youthful time again. Lots of money was paid for it. In just 2 years, more than 2,000 operations were performed. A notable client was Garrett McCormick, chairman of International Harvester Company. The surgeon became so wealthy that he rented an entire floor in one of the most luxurious hotels in Paris. He lived a luxurious life. Servants, guards, personal chauffeurs, and assistants were always around him. Many media outlets promoted these surgeries for free, and the ads quickly spread. Even the poets spoke about them in their poems. Max Thorick, who was working as a surgeon in Chicago at the time, says that the doctors called this experiment monkey glands. Many of you must be wondering how the surgeon obtained this massive amount of animal cells. In fact, he didn't even need to hunt the monkeys. In his luxurious mansion, there was a separate building where monkeys from all over the world were brought to breed. He had many resources. The man was so ambitious and wasn't satisfied by his achievements so far. Therefore, and after long thought, he decided to do the same experiment on women, not just men. Experimenting in women wasn't the final decision. The matter was being studied. But in the meantime, the surgeon had no major problems with the men. It was then that the problems began to emerge. After a few months, the millionaires and businessmen started to complain the operations had no effect. However, the surgeon had no response. Other scientists had conducted some scientific studies that indicated that monkey tissues can't take root in the human body. It also led to some health complications over time. But that prompts us to ask an important question. What about patients who express satisfaction with the results? Does this mean the surgery was effective in certain cases? Well, the answer is given to us by psychologists. It's a drug placebo effect. No one had a convincing answer. At the time, France was under occupation of Hitler, which prompted Voronov to emigrate to New York. The Nazi army released all the monkeys he was raising, and on top of that, many interested people lost their desire to conduct the surgery after seeing the testimonies of those who tried it before and confirmed it doesn't work. On the other hand, Wolverhampton, England's football team, was suffering from many problems between the 1940s and 1960s. The players underwent a monkey tissue transplant which reflected positively on the performance on the field. The surgeon, however, lost everything. His good reputation tarnished. He lost the monkeys he raised and his life in Europe had ended. Of course, he still had a profession that guaranteed him a decent life. He also managed over the years to amass an enormous fortune again, but the glory and appreciation were no longer present in his life. When he was 85 years old and while recovering from a broken leg, Voronov suffered chest difficulties and died 2 months later. Voronov is buried in the Russian section of the Cocade Cemetery in Nice. In 1991, scientists resumed studies in the field of monkey gland transplantation, which showed that the surgeon was in fact right. Scientists today found that monkey cells can take root in the human body and produce hormones that benefit it. In the modern view, the procedure seems somewhat ridiculous, but his legacy as a geniusly mad scientist is truly enthralling. If you liked today's story, make sure to thumbs up this video and tell us what you think about it in the comments section below.